Test, test. Welcome, everybody. So glad to be here and to have this opportunity to cast this wonderful tournament hosted by Daniela and the other folks. Pick your poison and welcome to the start of sort of my AOE2 content creation journey. As I let the beginning of this game play on a little bit, I'll just introduce the tournament and myself a little bit. I'm a guy coming from Civilization 3, actually, another very old school type of game. I'm looking to try my luck at a little bit of AOE2. I've played this game for more than 10 years as well, so I'm certainly no stranger, but I'm very much new to multiplayer. So this will be an interesting and exciting journey for me as well. These two guys that are on your screen playing against each other right now, well, admittedly, it is a recording, but ignore that. These two guys are, well, my potential opponents for round 2 of this tournament. So if I win my first round, I will face the victor of this matchup right here. The tournament itself is quite easy. All the participants were divided into different brackets, into different knockout brackets, in fact. So for my bracket, which is bracket J, that is the lowest elo crop of players in this tournament. So we'll have the special type of gameplay for you guys right here. I hope everybody is very much here for that. And I'm expecting some wild things right here, as I'm accustomed to from my own, individual ladder games as well. So let's shift the attention a little bit to these guys here. If you guys want any more information about the tournament, I recommend you check out the command, which is !PYP. You find links and information about the tournament, everything that you could need right there. Either way, this is going to be a very exciting endeavor for me. And I already see newp has joined in the chat. Let's see, did I actually turn off the delay? I think I forgot to turn off my delay, so I very much have to apologize for this. Oh no, I don't have any delay on. Great to have you then, newp. I hope I can do justice with your gameplay. I don't know the results of the match yet, so this will be very much interesting for me to find out how you did in that first round matchup. And as I already said, I might be your opponent in the second round, depending on whether or not both of us are able to win our first round matches. Either way, looks like newp right here opted for the Japanese, or rather was forced onto the Japanese for this map. And his opponent Wolly is playing as the Portuguese. Now personally, I have not a lot of experience with this map or these civilizations. I hope my opponent in the tournament isn't watching this, but I just want to say, yeah, of course, I hope you know the results, newp, otherwise we might have some impersonation issues going on right there in the tournament. I'm just saying though, I don't have a lot of experience neither on this map nor with these civilizations, so I'll be learning on the fly as well, and we'll see how this all plays out. Looks like it's a pretty quiet early game, and it looks like people, these players here, do know a thing or two more than myself about this map, because they're putting more than the traditional 3 or 4 workers on wood, which would imply to me that they know how their water play is supposed to go through. Good job by Wolly defending his sheep right there. Looks like newp took some damage on the scout and now gets caught in a bad fight. It doesn't look like he's taking the best trades to start this one off, and he's supposed to be the underdog in this one as well, since as you can see at the top of the screen right there, newp, playing in yellow, is the 10th seed in this bracket, whereas Wolly is seed number 7. For anyone interested, I'm the 2nd seed in this bracket, so I can only embarrass myself basically in this tournament. It'll be a lot of fun. So we'll see how that goes. Either way, it looks like newp was at least able to get his scout to safety for now, although Wolly seems occupied pushing his deer or well, maybe he tried to. At least newp was able to cause some distraction right there. Still, most importantly, none of the sheep seem to have been stolen, so the early game economy for Wolly should be rather undisturbed. My elo is, well, in the 1000s, just north of 1000 usually. So I think I'm just a tiny bit under 1000 at the current time, but yeah, that's the general area you can expect to find me at. I'm very much limited in my civ pool though, and in my map pool as well. So there's definitely angles that a lot of people in this tournament, in this bracket, even can outplay me. I don't expect to run away with this bracket by any means, to put it mildly. Looks like Wolly also still scouting around here. Now let's see if we can do some, yeah, we can do some tricks with the capture age here. Let me see how to get this on the individual civs. Yeah, perfect. I like to always do this. Just this shows kind of, if you look at the minimap right here, this shows how people have scouted here, and you can see. I think that is one of the major differences between low elo and high elo play. We typically don't tend to be all that efficient with our early game scouting. And oops, as I didn't mean to switch those colors around. Basically, the point I wanted to make is good job by both these players finding their opponents early. But I think all of low elo scouting could use some work, ideally. Either way, though, this map isn't all that crazy, I don't think, so I don't think the scouting is the most important aspect here. You generally know where your opponent is at, and as we can see, no lambing seems to have taken place either. Second age hit almost simultaneously here for both these guys, with newp with a slight lead there, both on 27 eco units, so nothing crazy there. We have 5 fish and chips against 5, I would assume. Although it actually seems to be only 4 for the Portuguese. I mean, we know the Japanese fishing economy is very robust, so getting those 5 ships out early is something that I like. Should be some much needed early food income there. That is very difficult to disrupt for the Portuguese. We'll see how Wolly tries to go about this. You definitely don't want to just let the Japanese use their bonuses for free, so to speak. At least that is what I would imagine. So far, both players seem to be very much content just going for the safe, slow scaling eco approach, as it seems. Oh, my YouTube, yeah. It looks like I don't have my commands all set up right. Apologies for that. I think I'll provide the YouTube link in the Discord as well when I'm done streaming here. So in case anybody wants to catch this recording later on, you'll find all the cast games that I do on my YouTube channel, and I'll link that YouTube channel in the event Discord as well, just so nobody misses out on, yeah, well, some casted games that otherwise they probably wouldn't get casted. Either way, we see the galley transition for the Portuguese, as same thing comes through for Japan. Scout now getting a few hits in, but it doesn't look like he should be taking those fights. And let me know, by the way, if the game sound is too loud or too silent. I typically tend to play with very silent sounds, but maybe for the viewers it transitions a little bit differently through the stream. Either way, we see the galley war now probably gonna be the deciding, well, battles that people opt into in this early game. As we can see, not a lot of land units, although we see some swordsmen out, some men-at-arms rather, for the Japanese, and there we go, there's all of them. Maybe he can try and sneak him around there, although the middle seems to be somewhat in control of Portugal at this point. Wolly with 3 galleys seems to have a bit more momentum there. Let's see how both these folks can micro. Already a quite low HP galley for the Japanese. Micro looking good though. Okay, avoiding those shots, both parties. I like the moves. They're definitely not doing bad here. It looks like, however, Japan just didn't have the numbers there in order to contest for this one. So Wolly seems to be getting the early water lead, even comes in with another fire galley here now. Potentially to help clean up those fishing ships, we'll see. And still more galley production for the Japanese. I don't know that that is the ideal play at this point. But again, I don't know a whole lot about water play anyways. Maybe he can do some more damage with the men-at-arms that he's got going over. It's 10 of them, in fact, so that could do some good damage. Although I don't see any terribly vulnerable spots there for Wolly at home. Maybe that is a bit of an overinvestment into men-at-arms. We'll see how that goes through as the fishing ships start taking some hits now. And the men-at-arms just come on over there. Let's see how quickly Wolly's going to be able to spot this and get his villagers out of harm's way. The attacks start coming in now. Run, everybody. Okay, good reaction. Good reaction. Now let's see how the retaliation is gonna be dealt with here. It looks like a lot of men-at-arms just going down to the TC fire, and good house walls on the woodline too. Alright, nice reaction there from Wolly, definitely. Oh, he doesn't get the wall all the way up though. That's the power of numbers that you can see right there. Good job getting into that woodline. I spoke a little bit too soon there. Not enough villagers constructing these houses, and it looks like Wolly's kind of falling apart here, struggling to get more house foundations up. Using another villager. This one up over here also very low on HP. Just able to get out of harm's way as the fishing ships in the north start being taken out one after the other, which is of course also a significant hit for newp's Elo himself. We'll see how he's going to be able to recover from that. Overall though, the eco is still quite similar. We can see the eco KD wild at this point, 10 to 6 actually. 11 to 6 at this point for Wolly, and he's gonna have the water all to himself it seems, whereas he's still struggling with those men-at-arms at home. Getting up that archery range is the important first step though in order to recover from this. It looks still yet some more villagers coming on over through that wall. Definitely not what Wolly intended, and those are some costly losses here. We'll have to see if newp can capitalize on that. Looks like the house wall is now stable enough though, and oh, this is quite low HP. Good job sneaking around there. Okay, I like the men-at-arms micro there from newp. Interesting, very interesting play. And now again all the villagers are on the run, and even if he doesn't get a ton of kills there on these villagers, which he still might be able to get, all that idle time is just absolutely massive, while all those villagers at home are fine and dandy working there. You can see quite comparable idle TC times for both parties. Means with the additional idle time from Wolly, you can see the worker efficiency in the last minute is just south of 30% for the Portuguese here. So I like what newp has brought to the table here. Good preparation, I assume, because he's mixing it up here against the favorite, against the higher seeded player. He's getting some good damage done early. Sadly had to give up the fishing pond in return. He's got 3 more galleys out, but don't think he's going to be able to trade efficiently into that fire galley. Yet it looks like that gold up north needs to be abandoned. Still, the gold resources in the south should suffice. However, without any mining camps there, that is quite the pain to mine all of that. And despite everything, Portuguese able to get to the next age first. It was quite a costly way there though, and 9 villages down. Just the gap in the fishing economy, of course, keeping him afloat, you have to imagine at this point. Alright, I like what I'm seeing there from newp. Definitely can't complain. He's not committing the cardinal sin of just getting scared of the higher elo opponent and falling into a state of inaction. He's committing to yet more men-at-arms, which I dare to question, since the enemy has already opted into archers. Well, you don't know that the crossbow upgrade has come through, so that is an excuse, I assume. But knowing that the enemy is headed for that archer transition, that would definitely dissuade him from making swordsman. And sadly, doesn't know how heavily Wolly is actually leaning into that archer line. Don't think he's gonna find a lot of success with that new wave of men-at-arms. He's getting a longsword upgrade, really? Alright, he's going for that infantry. I like to see it. Maybe with the Gambasons as well. He could be able to, yeah, there it comes, withstand some of that archer fire. So definitely Wally needs some numbers, but he has more than enough of them. It looks like 8 crossbows up already for him. That should be enough to deal with 8 long swordsmen. At least if the micro is there. They're about to meet each other in the middle here, and let's see who notices each other first. Okay. As the crossbows start firing first, and I don't think he's got quite the numbers that he needs in order to take out all of the Japanese. So that's another quite decent trade for newp. Actually, he just doesn't have any control about the, well, over the middle. And that TC going up there, that's another great early eco injection for the Portuguese as more crossbowmen start gathering in front of his gates. And I like the overall level of play here. Honestly, I'm getting a little bit intimidated by these two players who are considerably lower seeds than me, but I'm just saying they're doing stuff all the time and they're reacting quite quickly. So overall, good level of gameplay here. Can't imagine what the other brackets are looking like then, if that's the lowest level of play that we have to offer at Pick Your Poison. And now this force is starting to be consolidated in the middle of the map. Wonder what Wally's gameplay looks like at this point. He's kind of on equal footing there with the eco. And if we look at the eco upgrades, 0 done for the Portuguese, whereas Japan has quite a good number of them. Even maybe the heavy plow a little bit early there for him, but leaning this heavily into farms, you can understand why he would opt for that. Now getting raided by those crossbowmen in the north though, and that spearman isn't gonna stop them for a long time. At least able to get the gold miners out of harm's way. But the big question that is now posed to newp, I feel like, is how is he gonna secure his eco? How is he gonna find any secure resources to farm? That gold in the back here, that's 7.5k gold. That's gonna suffice for quite a while. But after that, well, he's quite open. So we'll see what he can do in order to secure some more res for himself. Getting handcart now. So you can see a clear discrepancy here. A lot of investment into early eco upgrades for the Japanese. He's got the military upgrades as well, whereas just all across the board, less upgrades for the Portuguese player. A lot of units at home as well. That's 8 crossbowmen basically sitting under his first TC, while he might need them at the second one. And look at this longswordsman attack, burning through that TC in the middle. I love the constant action from newp, and at this point, he's just at a pace that Wally can't really handle. He had the crossbowman, but just out of position, and pays a hefty price for it. Look at that TC going down in the middle. Wow, even some villagers following that, and if he doesn't micro this properly, he's also going to lose all of the crossbowmen. Let's see if he can sort of move them out of harm's way, or if he's going to lose all of them. At this point, it looks like a great trade for the Japanese. Is this a possible underdog victory at this point? It's still very difficult to tell, since the eco KD, or since the eco numbers are looking great. I missed this one completely, but the raid in the backline, it looks like I'm not the only person that missed this going on, but looking at the eco numbers at the top, we're still quite equal, and that's a lot of damage done to the Japanese economy. I don't think he's still spotted this. Oh, that's so unfortunate. I love the reaction there, but he lost track of the crossbows in the back of his base. He's only now moving them back, and the response is a castle, which I'm not a great fan of, honestly. I don't like the position. Oh, and he's gonna bleed more villagers building that. Oh, that's such an unfortunate circumstance, because honestly, he had such a good winning play there in the middle. Oh, I lost track of the back of his base, though. Now he gets the castle up, but what does this really secure? Just the farms around his CC, because this gold here in the west still can't be mined, and this woodline down here could even still be in danger if the crossbows are being positioned properly. So while he's stopping the bleeding for now, and he's got some skirmishes out to try and deal with those crossbowmen, he doesn't have any upgrades on those, so he needs to be attentive to the back of his base while still trying to push forward. A lot of gold floating there for Wally. His eco is not balanced at all. Maybe he can use the market in order to get back into this one. He's building it right now in the north, as we can see. He's gonna have to make some good use of that, it seems, because otherwise this eco is in complete and utter shambles. He's got 37 villages, but how many of those are working at this point? My goodness, those idle numbers are absolutely horrible. 16 idle ones, and I don't blame him here. I don't mean to say this in a degrading way or anything. It's just the pressure from newp is really bearing fruits. Look at this. What is this? He is running out of space. He's running out of option. He gave up on the TC in the middle, and now it's actually him, Wolly, being the one without any rest to farm. And it looks like this might honestly be the GG moment soon, because he's losing that TC. He's far from getting another one up. All he's got is that castle over here, and he's trying to reboom in the east, but I don't think newp is going to let him do that. Oh no, Wolly, he's kind of just falling apart here. Great damage on those crossbowmen, 25 kills on those, that's massive, but oh no, in return he's losing so much at home. The eco numbers are absolutely horrible at this point. Castle at least getting a lot of kills back now, but still more villages being taken out by those longswordsmen. And let's see whether or not Wolly continues to fight on here, because I honestly think this might just be what pushes him over the edge here. No murder holes on that castle, so that's gonna be going down. You have to feel like he's trying to get that town center up in the east at least and buy himself some time with that. Succeeds in doing that, but 0 in eco. He can't even make no more villages. Calls the GG now. My lord, big respect for the man newp here, who takes game 1. Whew, I broke a bit of a sweat here when the crossbowmen were raiding in the back of his base, but I love the constant action, and infantry buffs are definitely being felt in this one. I love to see the heavy longswordsman play from newp, who takes the 1-0 lead in this series. Ooh, I can just click right there and that's smooth. I'm learning along with you guys here about capture age mainly. And I'll jump straight into game 2, I believe, because this was a whole lot of fun, and congrats to newp for taking the 1-0 lead in this series. Let's see if he can hold on to it or expand it in game number 2. It's a best of 3, so if he wins the next one, he's already on towards the next round. Let's see if I can... Oops, where's the next game? Japanese versus Portuguese, that was this one. So now we want Vikings versus Slavs. What is the map though? Arabia. Welcome to game 2, everybody. newp versus Wolly, the 10th seed, on the cusp of securing an upset victory in round 1 of bracket J in the Pick Your Poison tournament. Still the good luck have fun's being given. I love the good sportsmanship between these two guys. And we have Arabia, a map that I'm a bit more familiar with than the last one. And Vikings versus Slavs, an interesting matchup. You can see clear tendency here from newp. He's picking those civs that can make some good infantry. His draft was Chinese, Japanese, Malians, Goths, Vikings, Mayans. So he loves himself some infantry, I would assume. If this goes to a game 3, by the way, we're going to be seeing Goths versus Italians. So we'll see how that matchup goes then. It sounds like a pretty decent matchup for the Goths actually, so newp might have an angle there. Let's focus on this one first though. newp wins this one, there's no game 3. If Wolly wins it, then we get that decider game. Alright, so far so good. Quite the conventional starts from everybody. It looks like 7 on foot though. Maybe the Slavs a little bit yeah, a little bit disorientated at this point. Doesn't look like he's playing with small trees on, which I don't think this is a great lumber. Oh no, never mind. It is a good lumber camp. I'm the idiot. It's all good. Now he's only on 5 on food, so he's definitely switching up the strategy a little bit here. First 7 on food, now 5 on food. Maybe he's a bit nervous or just I got a little bit confused there for a second. Either way, it looks like not as much of a confident opening there from the Slavs players. Also, eating 2 sheep at the same time is typically not what you want. Also, you can see a little bit slow here on all of the actions. The lure, the house It's just not clean and crisp like it would be with the 2k elo players, but that's not what we expect coming here either way. You can see the villager still on the old gathering point for the TC, now coming on back and also gonna work on some more food. So overall, not a spectacular early game. While we have a 6-3 split for the Vikings, I wonder what he's up to with his other villagers. Never mind. Maybe I just... Well, I must be missing something. Oh, okay. He's already missing walling over there. That's it. That's it then. That's some very early walling there for my money. Not sure you need that this early. Either way, gets a house down, so avoids getting housed at least. 30 seconds of idle TC already for the Slavs for Wolly here. So that speaks to him potentially not being 100% comfortable here. Maybe that's not his favorite map, although it is his home map since he lost game number 1. So he should have a good strategy coming in here. Maybe Slav's not one of his top priority picks. Either way, don't want to harp on Wolly all that much anymore. Definitely am not a lot, if at all, better than him. So yeah, I'm just pointing out what kind of stands out to me. More villagers coming on over to the berries. Very standard opening here for the Vikings. Doesn't look like we're getting any drushes here, but I wouldn't be all that surprised if we saw a man-at-arms play. We've got 4 on wood, so might go for some men-at-arms into archers, which is pretty decent when playing as the Vikings. For the Slavs over here, I can't yet quite, well, read what they're opting for. All I know is that it's not going to be any drushes either. So far, Zebros being pushed. I'd like to see that. Let's hope it doesn't return. And looks like he's doing a good job controlling that, even with the garrison and the TC. Okay. Wolly finding his footing here, getting a second lumber camp even. So doesn't look like he's in all that much of a hurry. Even getting the barracks now as well. And both of these guys still quite some ways away from the feudal age. That is quite surprising to me. We're seeing some very prolonged dark ages here with 19 and 18 villages respectively. That I didn't expect. And already 1 minute of idle TC time here for the Slavs. So definitely the Vikings in the lead so far, if one is allowed to point that out this early. Newp, thanks for commenting there. Your home map being islands, that's some good info actually. So we'll see if it comes to that last game on islands. So that's interesting. Goths versus Italians on islands might not then be the best matchup for the Goths. So if it comes to game 3, Newp might be relying on some shenanigans there with the Goths. Either way, he'd probably be much happier closing it out here with the Vikings. Let's see if he has another strategy that can surprise Wolly like he did in the last game. A lot of units on wood here. And no, I actually lied. When I said that he was quite far away from feudal age, I think he had already clicked up in the TC. Wolly had. And thus he now gets the feudal age pretty soon. Whereas the Vikings, Newp over here in the south, he's only now queued up that feudal age, so he's going to be there much, much later. Let's see if Slavs can punish that. It looks like Newp is going for very conservative wars. Lots of villages on walls, in fact. Yeah, that is quite curious. Having 25 villages and only no starting to wall. It seems a little... Well, no, I shouldn't say it that way. It's just that heavy focus on walls, and quite greedy walls at that, is quite late. So he is quite vulnerable to early attacks. If somebody went for a very quick feudal attack, I could have had some devastating results there against Newp. Maybe a thing for me to keep track of if it in fact came to a round 2 matchup with him. He's gonna get those walls up there, it seems. And just about to get that villager home in time. Nice job there, keeping the lion and the enemy scout out. Okay, so that's 4 villagers back to work now. A lot of investment, as I said, in terms of resources, but more importantly, in terms of idle time with those villagers. He's gonna go for relatively quickly Castle Age, it looks like, even, because already going with the heavy gold here, 4 on gold, suggests to me. Although he could also just be going for some 2-range archers, maybe? We'll see what he ends up doing here. Barracks still idle, so it's not going to be any men-at-arms, as I first suspected. Still the scout able to get in here. The wall's almost completed, but not quite yet. So at least that one unit was able to get in here. Is now trapped, however. So I'm not sure Slavs or Wolly is going to like that necessarily. No villagers under the GC though for the Vikings means no opportunity to garrison and shoot that scout, which is now a feudal age scout, so it's definitely able to harass those villagers. Well, at least they have some loom already on them, but it's yeah, well, it can still be annoying getting hit by that scout. Lots of villagers on the stragglers here. I guess he's looking to get a second lumber camp up maybe, but I wonder what the idea is. Why we got so many villagers on the stragglers on over there? We have some nice looking wood lines here that can't even really be reached by archers in the east, so I wonder why we are relying that heavily onto the stragglers, unless we want to actually put all of these 15 villagers onto farms, which maybe he does. Honestly, if that's his play, then fair enough. Continuing the house walls, he's playing very conservatively, definitely hoping to get to that castle age earlier than average, I would say. And the Slavs themselves walling up at home still, going for a way safer of a wall, and kind of, yeah, idling their villagers there in an unfortunate manner. Scouts out, spearmen out even, and I don't see the coherent game plan just yet for the Slavs here. A lot on food, some on gold, so also I don't think they're going to be opting for a lot of military here in the feudal age, and no way. Oh god, it's definitely Master Pizza here. Look at this poor guy. Oh, I can't believe it. He's actually gotten trapped now. And now the two scouts to the rescue. No man left behind. Not sure they're gonna get their friend out of there after all. They're trying to break in here, but the spearman is gonna come in and dissuade them. No military upgrades for the Vikings, while forging on the side of the Slavs is potent, but that one spearman is enough to have Wolly reconsider that attack. And so far, well, newp not being punished for his greedy walls. He is open in the west though. Quickly spots that hole. Nice job re-walling it. Still, Wolly trying to break out in the north. Honestly, if I'm newp, I might even let him get out, because really, what is he doing there? Shouldn't be a huge issue, even if that scout breaks loose. And, well, other than a few sporadic attacks every now and then, the Slavs aren't really putting the pressure onto the Vikings yet. And if we go into the castle age without any trouble, without anybody bothering each other, I think I really like the Vikings spot. Again, he's transitioned into a lot of farms here. He's got the horse collar at least, so he's able to justify that. I feel like it is a viable play, and he's just looking to get towards castle age at this point. Not even any archer action. He doesn't have this. He doesn't even have the first building yet. All right, so he's investing a lot of wood into those farms, but is still going to need to pick up the blacksmith and the archery range before being able to click up. And all that map control that theoretically is in the hands of the Slavs now, I don't think Wolly's looking to make a lot of use of it, and he's still going for quite conservative walls here. That is definitely not necessary. If you see the Vikings playing the way that they are, even the repairs coming in now at the last moment for that palisade, it just feels so bad for Wolly here, who now also is looking to pick up that horse collar and is on the way to castle age again, quite a bit before the Viking player, but eco behind. You're already up against Vikings. It looks like this might be a pretty good castle age for newp. And let's see if he can capitalize on that. The changed Vikings on this patch are a potent Arabia Civ again, in my opinion. So we'll see how he can make use of them. Oops, if any fighting breaks out here, it again looks like, yep, newp is taking positive trades everywhere around the map. And whenever we look, it's just a little bit Viking favored here. He's again going for the man-at-arm play. Let's see if Wolly expects it this time around. And it's again going to be a longsword attack in the Castle Age, which he's now clicked up to. Blacksmith Market over here. He's not even going for the archery range, which I'm not the biggest fan. I think an archery range would definitely benefit him, as finally the scout has actually been taken out with the spearman. newp definitely merciless here. I definitely gotta rewatch these games maybe if he actually ends up being my opponent in round number 2, because looks like he is on top of his game right now. Gets that spearman onto the scouts, and really he's with minimal investment into defense. He's really gaining a lot from that. Forward villager now coming for the Slavs. Even he is going to be picked off. It's just not coming together for Wolly here in the slightest, as he's even being forced to retreat now. Look at this. He's got, what does he have? He's got 12 military units. So that's the 10 men-at-arms, 9 men-at-arms in the barracks. He's got 2 spearmen and a scout, and these 3 units are enough to withstand the entire pressure from the Slavs. And even take some scout kills here. That's not supposed to be how this game plays out. Loses that spearman here. That is a bit awkward, can't lie. But man, this is really a rough one for a Wolly here. He's faster to the Castle Age. He's queued up some knights. Maybe he can do something with that. He's gonna have to find a way to break into that Viking base first, though. And I don't really see that happening, as we see the swordsman upgrade and the arson research about to come through. Gambesons as well. Well, maybe you could criticize the scouting here from newp. If he had scouted the opponent, seeing that he's only going for stables, maybe he would have attacked the pikemen already, and maybe he wouldn't have gone for the Gambesons research. Even still, though, if your idea is to send those longswordmen to dive the town centers, the Gambesons upgrade is pretty effective in countering that arrow fire as well, so I don't hate it. Either way, good to see you, Bonehead, as well in the chat. I'm sorry, this isn't Civ 3 this time around. I'm trying out some Age of Empires 2, but I'll be back to Civ 3 in no time. Still, very much loving both of these games and can recommend both of these games to players of the respective other one. Knights trying to break into those palisade walls. Doesn't look like the repairs are gonna come in. Although the house wall just in time, but not enough, and that is definitely a bit infuriating there. I hate when that happens to me. Not even able to ball up the woodline as well. So that's a few villagers being idled and or killed. Oh, doesn't click them far enough away. He's kind of in a bit of a hurry, it looks like. Going for the 3 TC boom here with the Vikings, but he kind of forgot about covering his flanks there. Thought the wall was enough as it was, but just with the spearman only now clicking the pikeman upgrade. Again, this is another strong case for early scouting. You need to be aware of what the enemy is producing. And even if you don't see the knights and just spot triple stable on the enemy, you're gonna be clicking that pikeman upgrade more often than not. So him not scouting there might have cost him a bit. He's now targeting this big area building called Market. So that's gonna be a quick break in there for the longswordsmen. What are the knights going to be able to do on offense though? These stone walls don't go up. Again, I have to criticize newp a little bit for his walling. He's doing it very costly, in a very costly manner every time, and that's not the counter unit. The mangonel is not the typical counter unit for longswordsmen, but newp being distracted at home makes this quite difficult for him to deal with. He loses a lot of HP on those longswordsmen. Scorpions would be more efficient a defensive unit, we have to imagine, or even just the archers again, although he didn't fare well with them last time around. brings on over the knights now. Let's see if he can take those swordsmen out. Great shot by the mangonel, and again, few more shots trying to rain in. Good dodges there by newp so far. Now some more effective mangonel shots, but he's also taken out some of his own knights here, it looks like. Tries to coordinate the fire away from the knights, but thus ends up missing out on the long swordsmen. So overall the eco KD is still quite even there, and as the long swordsmen start being cleared up, it is still a fine trade for Wolly, considering the damage he's done on offense especially. But it was definitely quite costly too. You can see 11 villagers killed by those long swordsmen. So again, another effective infantry attack by RS newp 9772, who's looking to close out this series and move on to round 2 of the tournament. What can Wolly, well, what forces does he have to even muster at this point? He doesn't have any ranges, he doesn't have any archer technologies, so he's gonna stick with his cavalry and siege, it looks like. Mangonel's kind of moving on forward. I think he's kind of misgrouping his units here. Oh no! Oh no, what is this? All this idle eco. Poor Wolly here, really struggling a little bit with the villager management. Still finding a villager pick here and there on offense. And this is definitely way more stressful than it looks, guys. I've been there a million times. When an enemy puts constant military pressure onto you, those little things, the villager micro starts being messed up. He could have easily punched through that house, but in the heat of the battle he didn't think of it, and thus ends up retreating with his knights as well. No more damage being found by Wolly's knights there, and the castle does a decent job protecting, well, just the front of newp's base. The flanks still quite open, but with the TCs everywhere, he's in a decently good spot there for the Vikings. He's getting the upgrades here, chieftains, which, well, you just want to have. So I guess you grab it. I'm not sure I love this one, because honestly, you might start going towards Imperial Age. The only reason I'm saying is because you know the opponent doesn't have a bigger eco than you. You know he doesn't have a huge military force in the field. Why not just go to Imperial Age and continue to snowball your own advantage? It's the only thing, well, I might suggest here. Your pikeman defense is more than enough against the enemy knights. Even some berserks out now at this point. Maybe you want to start sending them towards the enemy to start and pillage them for some gold down the line. I always love to see that. But longswordsmen are of course sufficient for that later on as well. Let's see how those cavalry trade against the infantry, and we can see they don't trade all that well. Oh, look at those trades now. I don't think this is going to go well for Wolly. Or is it? Are the knight numbers enough? It doesn't look like it. Oh, he's losing a lot of units there. I don't think that's a resource efficient trade for him then. More longswordmen start coming in. Oh, this is absolutely horrible for the Slavs. Maybe the reason why I'm freaking out about this isn't quite clear, but we see the 4th town center going up for the Vikings, while Slavs are still on their own 2 at home. Even the 5th one being constructed eventually in the west, it looks like. At least the 3rd one now starting to go up for Wolly. So the eco is definitely in the Vikings' favor at this point. Just the worker efficiency alone. Look at this, guys. It's 81 versus 50% worker efficiency. And with these numbers, and the Viking bonus, and the eco upgrades that he's picked up over his opponent at this point, he's in such a great spot. Even researching random towns and attacks now, I don't think town patrol is really necessary at this point, especially with the type of base setup that he has. Either way, he's in a great spot, and he's got the spare resources. He's even doing a good job balancing them. Not having more than 1,000 of any resource while having such a good economy is quite challenging at this level of play. I can speak from experience here, definitely. So I had to commend him here, really. Not a lot to complain about from newp's gameplay here. Well, the scouting, the walling is mainly what I was at odds with. He spots the enemy knights over here, but it looks like he's gonna get some more great trades. Another one goes down, and when you're looking to build up those knight numbers slowly, You can't afford to lose him like that. Now even the iron casting here coming in for the Slavs. I'm not sure that the upgrade's going to do a whole lot for him, sitting on those 6 knights that he's got. And everybody's just kind of giving their troops a rest. I respect it. Don't wanna overwork them. Definitely, even in the Middle Ages, people still need their fasting, so to speak. Mangonel's still sitting at home for the Slavs, maybe fearful of another potential raid coming in. Looks like he's trying to go into Boyars at least a little bit, but still also kind of trying to sneak around with the knights in the east again, probably targeting that southern TC where he knows there's kind of a gap in there. And he might find himself a monastery, honestly, that he could be looking to hit. Well, not the monastery itself, of course, but if any monks end up coming through. Doesn't look like anyone's nearby. Good reaction, though, on newp's part. Maybe the town patrol actually looking, well, playing a part in spotting those knights, and another one goes down without gaining any value. It's good trades so far. Even the berserks now able to take out the enemy auxiliary forces that were kind of denying that TC over there. Looks like he lost it though, so unless he deleted, those are some rest gone. And you can see now with the rest starting to pile up for the Vikings as they're pulling ahead here. Everybody still content, kind of sitting at home at this point. And Slavs going for their own infantry, and not sure how I feel about that, as he's now even housed at this point. He's just behind in eco, in res, in upgrades. Oh, the Viking power here is on full display, folks. Looks really good for the underdog here, and honestly, if he's able to pull away with a victory here in a very different game than game number 1, meaning a very much a calm one, without a lot of action, without any cheese plays, without anything of that sort, that would be quite impressive to me. Let's see if he can close it out from here, as that 5th town center is finally up and running. And more conservative walls start coming in from the Slavs, who at least are able to gather a relic for themselves as well. Still yet more expansion from the Vikings. They're losing no time getting back out on the map, looking to pick up some of these gold mining villages, and Imperial Age is on the way for newp. How is Wolly going to react? He's losing those gold miners first and foremost. He doesn't have pretty much any areas of the map left under his control. At least he's got a few town centers that secure him some resources, but we've seen in the game before how quickly those town centers can be obliterated by enemy infantry, especially Viking infantry, which you definitely don't want to be facing one-on-one with your own longswordsmen here. As you can see, just for a comparison, if I'm able to find one of those Vikings here. And he's got the berserks as well. Looks like he's gonna take another decent trade into the Boyars, who can do nothing but run away here. It's a difficult one being up against them. Even comparing the movement speeds, those berserks are so deceptively fast as well, that it's so difficult to find good trades into them if you're approaching them, well, heads up. Maybe some archers are actually needed here. Scorpions could be another option for this last player. He's looking to move out, maybe finally find some eco damage. At this point though, the defensive lines are being formed and consolidated by newp, so I would be surprised he was caught off guard by this attack, resulting in a lot of damage. Imperial Age now in for the Vikings, 1.5 minutes away for the Slavs. If he loses his army now, that could be absolutely terrible and devastating. Some upgrades being picked up for the Vikings. I'm looking for the big ones. I'm looking for the Imperial Age military upgrades. He doesn't get them just yet. Maybe I would wait if I were him, but it doesn't look like he needs to, as the Mangonel Micro is definitely subpar. Loses both of them without any additional shots coming in, and that's going to be an army being cleaned up by the Vikings, I assume. Looks like, although the TC fire is helping out, making this a little bit of a closer fight than I would have thought, still handedly picking up the victory in that skirmish, and that's going to be a tough one to recover from. Newp's looking to actually do this one. He's now even getting some villager picks here. The wall's trying to go back up there. Stone wall almost completed for the Slavs. At least Imperial Age coming in for him now. He's getting the military upgrades, but for what army? All he's got is that 9+8 longswordsman stack here. He's picking up Drushina. I don't even know what that tech does. I apologize for that. Not a Slavs player myself here. Much more familiar with the Vikings, and I know what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing more focus on infantry. I'm seeing 6,000 and more resources floating, closer to 10,000 actually. And he's not worried about that, I don't think, because he's in full control of this one. Let's see him attempt to close it out. He's going for the forward castle. 2 traps already in position. He's winning all the engagements. I think Wolly might be getting desperate soon here. That castle is probably not going to be able to be sustained. And I'm almost ready to call it at this point. Really, it looks like there's actually no avenue back into this one for the favorite player, for the albeit slightly higher seed. He's going for the 200 swordsman upgrade now against the 200 swordsman and the berserks. Vikings are just gonna roll this one, aren't they? 2 trebuchets more than enough, honestly. Just slowly picking apart the enemy base. Now you can even continue pushing forward at this point. Doesn't need to hold the push here. At least the walls on the west have finished for the Slavs, but the east is so wide open. He's not gonna be able to sustain this one, and there we go. The game's being called by Wolly, and that's a 2-0 victory for newp here in the chat. Good to see you, Daniela. I'm sorry I didn't pick you up in chat earlier. And Bonehead also. I was kind of focused on the casting here in the last 10 or 20 minutes. It's my first time casting any Age of Empires 2, so pretty glad with how it went. First time using Capture Age as well. I'll definitely come back tomorrow, casting another series of our bracket J. Probably the series between Ben Immortal and TK. But I won't have any more time today, unfortunately, because really, I was a little bit slow on my work, and so it's already quite late. Meaning I'll have to head towards bed quite soon myself. Either way, this was an amazing set to watch, and newp pulls off the upset here and takes the set 2-0 against Wolly. So that is my opponent in round number 2. If I get past my own first round matchup, which, well, I'm definitely not all that certain about. Either way, this is a fun tournament already. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll try to be more familiar with Capture Age. I'll try to get some nice bonus resources going on screen for you guys. And we'll go from there and look at some more sets. I'll also definitely try and watch chat more, because that's still a bit difficult for me. But all that will come with time. Looking at our, well, tournament progress. Thanks for joining me then. I hope everybody on Twitch and on YouTube enjoyed this one. There'll be more games of this tournament coming on both of my platforms here. And shout out to the players mainly. I'll see you guys tomorrow then, and I hope you'll continue to support and participate in Pick Your Poison.